So let me give you some background. This is Kevin Rose. He is a tech entrepreneur, angel investor, and is now probably best known for his podcast, The Kevin Rose Show, where he explores how to reach your peak personal and professional performance while still living a minimal and balanced life. And it is from his interest into balance and minimalism that led him to create the Zero Fasting app. Now, I am no expert on intermittent fasting, but from what I can understand, humans were not designed to be eating all the time, like we do now. If you apparently fast for 16 hours a day and only eat within an 8-hour window, there are massive health benefits. Zero is a fasting tracker that helps you do this properly. And it is a great app. It does what it's supposed to do, but it could do so much more. Enter Mike Mazur, another tech entrepreneur who created Fitstar, which, by the way, was an app I used to use all the time when I was a teenager to build my muscles. Anyway, Mike's new project now is to take Zero to the next level. And to do that, he turned to AJ&Smart. So last week, Mike came into Berlin to run the first design sprint for the Zero app. In that time, they went from a vague idea of what Zero 2.0 would be to a very tangible, very real prototype that they could test with real users.
Oh my god, this design is so good!
Yeah. And that brings us to where we are now. In the second week, we'll be running an iteration sprint, which means that we'll be taking all of the information that we got from our first round of testers and iterating upon that to make a new prototype, an even better prototype, which we will then test again with new users. The end result will be the best version of the Zero app we could possibly make. Now that is all cool, but what is really cool is that Mike and the AJ&Smart team have allowed me to sit in on this design sprint and let me film the whole thing. Aha!
So we're kind of sitting at this spot now. We've got a wall of feedback which is kind of behind us here. It's up, staring us down, and we're going to get to look at that. So this morning we're going to work on kind of going through what things worked, what things didn't work so well, and then we'll be bubbling up the top 3 things, the top 3 kind of challenges that we want to solve this week. We're going to be using a few devices today, but the main device we're going to be using is this real-time board.
Real-time board is a whiteboarding platform where your team can create, discuss, and share their work using the simplest tools. It fits right into your team's current workflow. They can add everything from spreadsheets to interactive prototypes to the board. It's updated in real time for everyone in your team, regardless of their location, so you'll always be on the same page.
So with all the intro formalities out of the way, what we did first is we reviewed our last week's progress, and then we just jumped straight into it. For the next activity, we all gathered together to find out what was moving us forward and what was keeping us back. So we all put sticky notes on the board about the things that we liked about the first test run and the things that we thought didn't work so well. This sort of gave us clarity of thought so we can move on with the next step. For the next activity, we answered the can we question. So for example, a can we question would be like, can we register users in a way that makes them feel good?
Can we create a foundation pack that welcomes both existing and new users? I think that that's touching a little bit on what you were mentioning there as well, Mike.
Once we had all the can we questions together, the next step was voting on what we thought was the best one. The way we did this is we all had 3 red dots and we put them on the can we questions that we thought were the most relevant. So the 3 finalists were, can we make the intro journey more clear? Can we guide users through the simple steps while still allowing control and flexibility? And finally, can we give users the feeling that they want to keep going? So the lightning demos are all about inspiration. It's about seeing what's out there and pulling it all in for inspiration, so sort of getting the brain working for when you're starting to work on your own solutions. It's not copying, it's sort of looking for inspiration. Like, oh, pretty flowers.
The Moves app, does anyone remember this? It was really popular like 3, 4, 5 years ago or something.
I do, I think, remember this, yeah.
Yeah, I love the super simple visualization of the tracking of your progress. So the green, I forget which one's which, but one's like steps and one's probably cycling, and the different size bubble indicates how much you did that day. So I could imagine this being like different types of fasts, like bubbles being different types of fasts going through the days. Maybe the size indicates the number of hours or something.
So we're just done the morning session, just on a lunch break now, and man, it is very intense. Every minute is is accounted for. So now that we've got the clear defined what we've got to be working on, and we sort of like got an idea of, from doing the lightning test, what sort of we want it to look like, act like, we're now going to have lunch, and then we're going to go into the sketching phase, which is where each individual person sits by themselves and sketches up solutions to answer the 3 big goals for today. And yeah, should be fun. So this is the part where the creative juices really start to flow. So without talking, we're all in the same room and we are sketching out solutions to those 3 can we questions. So being totally brand new to the sprint process, I'm not sure if my sketch solution was the best idea out there, but anyway, I'm going to share it with you so you can get an idea of what sort of ideas people were coming up with. So my idea for the fasting app was to have like a beginner's week to get total newbies into this intermittent fasting. So it would begin with the simplest sort of thing possible, which would be a 1-day fast. And because this fasting is, you do the vast majority of your sleep, there was a great sort of tagline that you could use is, so easy you can do it in your sleep, which is true. And then the idea is that it would progress on to, you take the next step, which would be a 3-day fast. And yeah, the idea was like this very simple sort of week that would progress a newbie right through and teach them all about intermittent fasting and give them the best possible first week experience that a newbie could possibly have. That was my idea. It didn't get chosen, but you know, it was cool to be part of the process. Really, really cool. So once the ideas were up, the next step was heat mapping. So this is sort of a tool to anonymously vote on the ideas that you think are the best. So the idea is what we're all doing here is we're putting red dots on the little concepts and big overarching ideas that we think could really, really work. And the idea is by the end of it, you can visually see what are the best ideas. So after we were voting, the 4 ideas looked like this. This is my one. Yeah, pretty good. It got a bit of heat on especially that tagline. And then there was a nice lot of heat on this idea, submitted by one of the other designers. And also there was a bit more on this one, which I personally thought was quite a cool idea. And then finally there was a nice lot of heat on this one. So it gives you a nice visual representation of the ideas and sets you up for the next step. Now next up is the straw poll vote. Now this gets its name from the idea of like you hold straw up, you let it go, and you see which way the wind takes it. It's a similar idea. The idea is like you're trying to all vote so you can sort of see what is the standout idea by seeing where the votes go. And what we do is for that is we all have little green dots this time, big green dots, and we have one green dot that we get to put on our favorite concept. And once we've all had our say, we have the decider vote. In this case, the decider is Mike. And so he would go through based on all that we have voted on, and he would choose his 2 final concepts. And his was the final say because he is the client. And the 2 he chose was this one and this one. Final step for the day are the user test flows. So based on all the information that we've collaboratively worked on, we work out how we want the actual prototype to function and where we want each screen to be placed within the prototype. Then from here we spend the next few days actually building it. And then once we have it, we can test it with real world users and get the feedback that we need. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was my first experience of the design sprint at AJ&Smart. It was very full on, but I can see why this is such an exciting process and you can get a lot of work done in just one single week. And being on the design team for this Zero app, if you are a Zero user, I can assure you that this new version is going to be so cool. You guys are in for a real treat. Mike is doing a great job with this. And yeah, as I said, this is still very much first impressions of the design sprint. I don't fully understand it yet. However, this weekend I am taking their masterclass on design sprint, so hopefully I can wrap my head around the whole process a bit more. So I hope this has given you a little taste about what this process is and a little inside look at how the designers work here at AJ&Smart. It's very full on, very intense, but damn is it fun. Keep up to date with the next video, which will be coming out obviously in a week's time. Please consider subscribing and click the bell button for notifications, which makes me happy, makes you happy, and we're both happy. Anyway, as always people, I will see you in the next video.